Welcome back to MTR Network. It's Kriss and Phenom here, and we're here to review the movie Allied. In 1942, an intelligence officer in North Africa encounters a female French resistance fighter on a deadly mission behind enemy lines. When they reunite in London, their relationship is tested by the pressures of war. This stars Brad Pitt and Marion. What's her last name? Cotillard.
Oh, Cotillard.
Yeah. Those are basically the main two characters in this film. I don't think anybody else really matters in here. I saw this one alone. Phenom didn't see it. I kind of wish somebody else had seen it with me, because it's kind of hard to really describe this film, I guess, because it's not bad, but it's not great either.
Yeah, that's kind of what the reviews have been saying. It's middling.
Yeah, it's an okay film that should have been better. I think the first problem is when you see this film, even when you see the idea of it, and you have basically two spies getting together, and you have Brad Pitt in the film, you immediately go Mr. and Mrs. Smith, right? Which is not a serious film, more of a, I don't think that was not really a comedy either, but it wasn't as serious as this. This is definitely a more serious film. So you immediately go and you expect to have the two characters that have that kind of chemistry, and they don't. Like, you don't, like, the basis of this movie has to have you sold on the relationship between, let me see if I can get the names of the characters right. Max and Marianne. If you're not sold on Max and Marianne having this relationship, then the rest of the movie kind of just doesn't do it for you. And I kind of blame Brad Pitt. It feels like he phoned this one in.
Is it a period piece?
Oh, it is.
Like,
it's set in 1942. So basically, what the way the film is set up is, Brad Pitt's character Max Vatan, it's not even a U.S. officer. He is a Canadian special intelligence officer, and he's meeting this woman who is from the French Resistance, and their mission is they're in North Africa, and they're supposed to assassinate the ambassador there. They're supposed to be a married couple, and the problem is they kind of fall in love quickly for some reason, even though you're not really sold on that at the beginning of the film. They assassinate the ambassador. They escape cleanly, and Max asks her to come back to London with him and marry him, be his wife. Then what happens is the rest of the movie is basically trying to figure out if she's who she says she is. Because the idea is that she could be a double spy, because he's still working in intelligence, and the intelligence community gets word that somebody is feeding their intelligence to the Germans, and they're betting it that it's his wife. Mm-hmm. And the whole premise is it true? Now, he's married. Is a few years past. At least 3 years has passed, because they're married. They have a daughter. They're together. They actually had this one scene where she's giving birth in the middle of the bombing of London. You know, so it's like their daughter's born in the middle of this bombing. So they have this back and forth is whether she's really a spy or if he's not. He's trying to figure it out before the Canadian intelligence does, because he doesn't want to believe it. So at one point he flies a mission to, I think it's to Germany. No, he flies a mission to Paris to kind of come across somebody who knew Marianne when she was part of this resistance corps, because nobody has seen pictures. The one person that did meet her was blinded, so you really never know until the end if she was or wasn't in the resistance. Now, I do think they do a really good job of not letting you understand and not knowing if she was or not. But again, you just kind of aren't sold on Brad Pitt's character.
I'm not sold on this movie.
No, I mean,
like, honestly, I saw the trailers a few times. The name, it's a couple of things. It's the poster art for this makes it look kind of it doesn't sell me on it. The actual title doesn't really sell me on it. And then the trailers didn't sell me on it. And then I'm looking at the writer for this and the producer.
Stephen
And
Knight.
the mix is interesting because the producer is Robert Zemeckis. So you've seen a Robert Zemeckis film. If you've watched films, you've seen a film he's worked on, whether it be Gothica, Back to the Future, House of Wax, Real Steel. You've seen one of his films.
Mm-hmm.
And then the writer is Stephen Knight. Now, I have this issue with his other films. Like, I've seen Peaky Blinders on Netflix. I've seen posters for Locke. I've actually seen Eastern Promises. And I saw Pawn Sacrifice. Like, I saw trailers for Pawn Sacrifice. None of those films interested me. Just the tone of them, the look, none of that pulled me in. And it seems like the same thing is going on here with Allied. The only one of these films he's done, it seems, that I've actually seen is Eastern Promises. And that was a really forgettable film. Yeah. So I just think that I'm not sure how this combination was going to work with these two together. And I'm just not sure that this was promoted well as a film. Like, despite the fact that Brad Pitt is in it, he's got more drama at home in the tabloids than the appearance of this film. You know, like this film drop.
Well, he stopped doing appearances. He stopped doing appearances for promotion for the film.
Makes sense.
You know?
And who else is in the film?
That's really it.
The casting, and nobody else is in this film.
Nobody else that matters. Nobody else that matters.
Who else is going to carry this if he was going to stop promotion on it? Like, that's a huge bet to take. This isn't from his studio, is it?
I don't think so.
I don't know. This film just doesn't really hit for me. This seems more like it's on HBO tonight, maybe I'll Netflix it type of film. But this really doesn't seem like a huge theater film, and it's not getting bad ratings. It really is just middling. Like, it's sitting right there, you know.
I'd give it. I'll go and give my rating now. I'd give it a 5.5 out of 10.
Yeah,
because, I mean,
that's
it's
middling.
It's just there, you know. And I one thing I will say, I think that I think that Brad Pitt shouldn't have been picked, and I like Brad Pitt in most roles. I just don't feel like his heart was in this for several reasons. One, I can definitely tell you right now, I don't believe, even though she has denied them, I do after seeing this film, I do not believe that Brad Pitt was having cheated on Angelina Jolie with
this
Mary.
woman.
No, because there's no chemistry whatsoever. As to, you know,
I just feel like they should have went with a less popular actor who's on the rise.
You know who I thought they should have had for this role, and at one point he looks like him in the movie, Kriss Pine.
See, Kriss Pine is still a big name, but I'm not saying that Kriss Pine couldn't do it. This just feels like a film that they shouldn't have stuck an A-list actor in, period. Yeah, they should have given a more B-list actor some shine with this one. You know, and they wouldn't have to spend more. Maybe they could have did a better casting, or maybe the other. I don't know. You tell me. The other casting in this film. Like, do any of them stand out? Even people you don't know.
No, none of them stand out. Like,
yeah, that's not good.
Well, to be fair, the reason why they don't stand out is they're not really given much to do. What's his name? God, there is one that is in here, but he's not, and we've seen him before in roles. Hold on. And I just seen his name. Hold on. God, I can't. They're in fucking order, so I can't find his name. There is one guy in here who is more of a name you'll recognize, I think. But Jared Harris. So Jared Harris is in here. He plays Frank. He plays one of he plays Max's superior, Brad Pitt's superior in the film. But again, Jared Harris is good, but he's not given anything to do. Like, they're just not given. The rest of the cast isn't fleshed out enough to care. And so, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because the movie is supposed to be just about the two main characters. But because their chemistry isn't good enough, and it doesn't really feel like you're not sold on their romance and their relationship, when Brad Pitt's character starts doubting if his wife is really his wife or if his wife is really a spy, you're not sold on it. And I'm going to be honest, I think that the ending was, I don't want to say safe, but it wasn't the ending I was kind of hoping for. Fuck it, nobody's going to see this film. So I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. The ending of the film is basically that she was a spy. That she wasn't the original Marianne. The original Marianne had been captured. So the Marianne that he met, when he met her in the beginning of the movie, she was really a German spy, and the ambassador they killed had already been tasked to be killed anyway by Hitler, so it was okay. And then she did fall in love with Brad Pitt's character. She did move out there with him, and she thought she had escaped, but the Germans found her anyway and threatened her family, threatened her daughter. So she decided to start giving them information. So at one point, Brad Pitt decides they're going to try to escape with her. He's going to try to escape with her because they have this really cool thing where if you marry someone and your wife or your spouse is a spy and you're in the intelligence community, you have to kill them by your own hand or you're sitting to death too.
That's prove your allegiance.
Yeah. So I feel, so what happens in the film is she ends up killing herself so he doesn't have to do it. And that's my thing with the film would have been like, it would have been more intriguing to me is if he killed her and it comes to find out that she wasn't a spy. And they really because they really do a good job of you don't know. Like even the information you get, like at one point he flies to Paris to find out, and the person he finds the information from, the way he finds the information is he finds out from a drunk, a guy who is in this, who is literally he's in jail for being a drunk, and he tells him that Marianne used to be able to play the piano, and so when Brad Pitt comes back, he takes his wife, he breaks into this bar, is like, play for me, play the piano for me, and that's how he kind of figures out, and she comes clean that she's a spy. My thing would have been the guy was drunk, he was wrong. She can't play the piano.
But why would you not just act like you can't play the piano? Why wouldn't she just act like she couldn't play the piano?
No, that's what I'm saying. No. He's saying that the real Marianne could play the piano. She didn't know, the one that he was married didn't know how to do it.
Oh, okay.
So that's how he knew that and that's how she comes clean. My thing would have been like, what if she can't play the piano because the real Marianne never could play the piano, and that guy was just drunk and didn't know any better because he's fucking drunk. And he goes through all this stuff. He ends up killing her, and they come to find out. Because the other thing, too, is at the time is Brad Pitt is running, his character Max is running he's told to let them, they're going to run a blue dye, which is he's supposed to feed her false information. And over the weekend, if it gets to German intelligence, they'll know if she's really a spy.
Which should have been the simplest way to do this.
Right, which is what was happening. But Max didn't want to wait that long, obviously, because that's his wife. He wants to find out, and they told him, stop digging. We'll know by Monday. So what would have been great is he does all this stuff. He kills her. They come back Monday and go, we were wrong. She's not. That would have been more intriguing of a movie to me than a movie where it turned out she is a spy. And it was already bad enough they didn't have the chemistry there. But I just think that the way they try to do it, it didn't have enough of a twist to even give you a fuck. Like, it didn't even have enough to make me go, aha, at the end of the movie. It's just like, I didn't give a fuck. So,
yeah, no, when you started rewriting the film that you just saw, that pretty much is a nail in the coffin.
And the other problem is, I saw this movie like 2 weeks ago. And we didn't do the review that week. We didn't do the review this week. So even now, I had to go back and I had to write notes to make sure I remembered certain aspects of this movie because I didn't care. I didn't. It just wasn't. It wasn't intriguing enough. It wasn't interesting enough for me to give a fuck about it. And
you went to see this the week that you were supposed to go see Edge of 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have went to see Edge of 17.
Yeah. Or fuck it, I might have maybe even that
the Tyler what's
his name? The Miles Teller film.
Miles Teller.
Yeah, I might have been able to. Might have should have gone and seen that shit. So it's just
Bleed for this.
Yeah, Bleed for this, man. That might have been more intriguing than this shit. So yeah, man. I like I said, I'm gonna give it a 5.5 out of 10. I don't think anybody, unless you're like a diehard Marion fan or a diehard Brad Pitt fan, this is not a film you want to see. It's just blah. It's easily forgettable, and you just don't care. So
oh well.
Yeah. As you guys have it, that's a review for Allied. Find the rest of the reviews on movietrailerreviews.net or mtrnetwork.net. Search for Movie Trailer Reviews or MTR Network on iTunes or Stitcher Radio. Until next time, we are out of here. Peace.